Hello guys, I am back with another BrewTools video. So today we're going to be looking at the control panel for the BrewTools B80pro. So I believe it's the same control panel for the 40 Pro, the 80 Pro, and the upcoming, at the time of recording at least, 150 Pro. Okay, so this is the home screen. So when you plug it in, this is the first screen that you will see. A word to the wise, the B80pro comes with two power leads. One is the primary and one is the secondary. If you plug the secondary power lead in, the unit won't switch on. So if your heart skips a beat and you think it's broken, just double check that you plugged in the right lead, and yeah, just label them so you know for future. There's two leads, I think I've previously said in my video, because yeah, there's two relays in the system, so you can use both heated elements and get the full 6.6 kilowatts should you need. Okay, so I'm not going to touch on the recipe section. It's still in beta at the moment. At least I've not updated this as yet, so maybe it's not in beta at the moment, but yeah, I mean, it's like you know, some of the other systems out there, like the Grandfather. You know, you can put in the recipes, you know, your hop schedules, what time you're putting your hops in, how much you're putting in, and yeah, the name of the hop, and yeah, you can kind of let the system kind of do its thing based on that. I would have thought. So I'm not going to go over that for now, especially as I'm still getting used to this myself. But I did have a play with this earlier, and I'm going to take you through a few things that may and or may not be obvious. So this is the kind of, you know, once you get into the main control panel, this is what you're going to be seeing. Now you can go into the settings here, and you've got a list of things. Okay, so we'll start from the top and we'll go down. So alarm, so you can either have it to alarm continuously or to have 3 beeps. So I think if the alarm's going off for whatever reason, then I want to know about it. So I'm going to leave that to alarm continuously, so it draws my attention. The brightness is literally the brightness of this screen. So I think it's default at 100%, but I think it's a little bit too bright, so I'm going to leave it at 60. That looks quite nice. So English and Norse and Norwegian, I suppose. At the moment, I believe they are looking to add some more languages. The sensor threshold, I'm going to leave that for 1 second and I'm going to come back to it. So you've got max current 1, max current 2, so they're the two relays that I mentioned. So I'm in the UK, I've got two, I'm on a 13 amp circuit, so they're both set at 13 amps, so that's obviously fine. I don't want to blow any fuses. The temperature units, so, oops, as you would expect, Celsius and Fahrenheit, nothing funky in there like Kelvin, which is obviously fine, so we'll leave that Celsius. And the mash power mode, and I will touch on this now. So I think at default it's to 50%, so let's click tick, so let's leave it at that for now. Okay, so you've got the option to change the heater control from auto to mash and to manual. So when you've got it at manual, you literally just got the heating elements on at whatever percentage power that you've selected. So at the moment it's on kind of 50%, and that will just kind of take you up to boil at 50% power, so you can't select a target temperature, whereas if you're in auto you can. And obviously the you know, the system, the heating elements, they'll take you up to 68 degrees and then they'll switch off and keep that, maintain that temperature a bit basically. So the 50% mash mode power that you can see here relates to the mash heater control function. So it automatically sets it to 50. if you go in and change it to 60, and flick through again, changes to 60. So you can basically set your threshold so that you don't overshoot, you know, your mash temperature too much. So yeah, if your target temperature is 68 and you're in mash mode, but you've got maybe 70% power, then you might be overshooting your temperature, which, you know, you might not want. So you've got flexibility and control over that. So the sensor threshold is by default set at 30%. And so when you're back in the screen, you can flick between, yeah. So tank's highlighted at the moment, it's at 20.4 degrees Celsius. You tap temperature again, it switches to pump and highlights that in orange, and that's at 20.7. But to give you that bit of flexibility and automation as well, the sensor threshold percentage essentially relates to the pump power percentage. So when I've got my pump at 30% or more, this will automatically change to the pump temperature, which is the, yeah, so I mean obviously there's the main temperature sensor within the vessel, which is the tank, of course, and the secondary one, the secondary temperature sensor is kind of, you know, highlighted in the pump tube. So depending on what you're doing, you know, you're recirculating or, you know, whatever you might want to be doing at that particular time, you might want to set your threshold based on that. One thing that I did notice, and you may recall that I installed a third temperature sensor, which came with the recommended accessories pack. That's not listed here, is it, right? So you've got your tank sensor and your pump sensor. No matter how many times you press it, the third sensor's not there. So it took me a little bit of playing with it to figure this out, and it shouldn't have done really, because there's only so many buttons and things you can press on this. And if you click this little snowflake here, there you go. The return temperature 20.2, 20.3 degrees Celsius. So yeah, so this is the temperature of your returning wort when you are, yeah, when you kind of cooling through the counterflow chiller. Check that temperature, 20 degrees. You know, if you see it at that, obviously you'll be pitching at that kind of temperature. Then you know it's time to get the wort in the fermenter. So very nifty and separate from the other two temperatures. Okay, so you can't turn them on. Well, you can turn them on, but you know, the system is clever enough to give you fair warning to make sure that make sure that the unit's full of either water or wort, so that again you don't kind of scald and contort the elements. So if I press it again to come on, obviously we don't want to do that. Similar with the pump, nothing in there at the moment, nothing to pump. I'm going to leave that alone. Right, so let's go home. Back to manual control. Oops. Sorry, back to the settings rather. Okay, so I've not done any updates on this yet, so I don't know if this is the latest one or not. But in order to do so, I would literally go to the second tab in the settings, click Enable Wi-Fi, and enter my network name and the password associated with it, and then go to the updates. It's saying that there's no updates available at the moment, but that's because it's not connected to the Wi-Fi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter my credentials here, and I'm not going to show them to you just in case. And I will be back any moment. Alright, I am back, fresh off entering my Wi-Fi details. So I'm connected to the Wi-Fi now, and yeah, I mean, if you very briefly go into there, so you can see that I'm connected, and it's automatically found an update. So yeah, the device came with version 1.03.01 installed, and it's found a new version, so 1.04.03. downloading, yeah, fairly slowly based on my Wi-Fi speed, but that's fine. I'm just going to let it do its thing, and yeah, I'll get a new version. I'm not sure what additional features are in this, but yeah, if there's any material updates in this version, then yeah, I'll be sure to let you know. I think that's pretty much it. My only kind of parting comment with this is that I really like the control unit. Super sensitive, you know, really responsive. You know, it looks good. It just handles nicely. It's slick, and you know, they're obviously trying new things with the recipe mode, and you know, it's a fairly new company, this, and they're developing stuff all the time. You know, I can only see this, you know, getting better and better and better. So really looking forward to what they do with it. Can't wait to get going with the system. You know, actually brewing with it instead of just talking about it and you know, fawning over it. But that's good as well. You know, it's a nice shiny new toy, and I'm definitely really pleased to have it. Let's hope it brews as well as it looks. I'm sure it will. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. Yeah, if you want to see any more BrewTools videos, then again, give me a like, share, subscribe. Very much appreciated, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, sorry, let me just tag this on the end very quickly. So the recipe mode is now out of beta, so that's the full recipe mode, so maybe I'll have a quick look at that once I'm a bit more familiar with the system and get my recipes programmed in. A couple more little updates for you, just to kind of make you aware. So the third temperature sensor reading now appears there instead of an actual pop-up box. So just a minor change, but just kind of worth pointing out, because obviously I made mention to that in the previous parts of the video. And the only other thing that I've kind of noticed is that you've also got a volume unit now, so you can switch between litre and US gallons. Not sure if they've added any more languages actually, let me check. No, so just the two for the moment. Okay, thank you, bye bye.